a shining force in Star Trek stars and Superman's course. With roles that span both time and space, she lights each scene with vibrant grace.
That's nice.
Thank you. We had AI generate that specifically for you, and yeah, it does what it wants. We just kind of let it go. We've had stuff go horribly wrong in the past with that, so hopefully it got. Sometimes there's different Natalie Moons. I know there's a comedian that I've seen some interviews for. Like, that's not her. Funny though.
Yeah, I always say thank you to Google, so I think AI is going to be nice to me eventually when we all.
Thank you, Google.
It's like befriending the. Sorry.
Go ahead. I want to do the intro. We are live with Natalie Moon, actress, actor, writer, a little bit of everything. You have seen her. You're a pop culture phenom. You have done everything from, just going through my notes, I don't want to list everything, but Death Note, Star Trek Beyond, Mary Ann, DC's Legends of Tomorrow, Jane and Flash, and of course the big one, your most recent television role that I know of, Erica Luther in Superman and Lois, aka Contessa, which to a lot of Superman fans, I think you're one of the first, if not the first actor to play that role.
I think in this universe, yes. I think in the in some of the movies there have been other people, but in this universe.
I love it. I love the fact that you know, like, you are all over geekdom, pop culture, nerddom. It's amazing that you could join us. Whenever we got the opportunity to talk to you, I'm like, yes. There's so much. And of course, I make a Star Trek reference in every show just to annoy Zaz and Josh down there. And finding out that you're a Star Trek nerd is also a bonus. So welcome to the show. I'm so glad you could join us.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Thank you. We are super glad. And I want to start off just to get to know you a little bit, let people filter in, and remind everybody that if you have questions, please ask them. We will pass them on to Natalie and get your question answered. We love taking comments from our watchers. So, sorry, Mary. Did I say Marianne? It's a note right in front of me. Natalie Moon, we will definitely get those questions off to you. I want to start off with your family life growing up. Who were you like? I'm always fascinated by who people were when they were younger and who you are then versus now. Who were you like as a young girl in school? What was your life like?
I was very much the tomboy, probably. Well, I didn't have any dolls really growing up. I had one doll growing up, and I cut all its hair off and made it look like a punk. So yeah, I was playing with, I don't know, micro machines, which are like tiny.
Love micro machines.
I had so many micro machines. I stole them all from my brother. So I was not a very girly girl, but wanted to be the center of attention. Usually, I think that's probably most performers.
Prerequisite for acting.
Yeah, pretty much. But I like to think that I was a good time as a child. But I also was incredibly hyperactive and probably didn't sleep from the age of about 6 to 11, probably. I used to come downstairs like 10 or 12 times a night. My poor mother had to deal with that. So very, very high energy levels. Yeah.
So you started on stage early. Was that like an attempt to bring those energies in or spend them in some way? Or was it just something that fit for you?
I think a bit of both. I think that I really enjoyed creating like little plays when I was small with my friends and fake radio shows. So with me,
I had some
all the characters. And I think that my parents too, like, figured it was a good outlet for me. It really started when I was young with sort of those Lambda courses. They have like prose and verse and doing all the, like, being able to be a good public speaker and things like that. Okay. And then from that, it kind of branched out into more of a performance and singing and stuff like that.
So in your very first plays, I'm assuming high school or even younger, do you remember any lines from your first acting gigs?
I do. Well, actually, I remember.
I love this question.
I think the songs stay with me more. There was one when I was 8 years old. I was in Jack Frost. I only remember one little line of the song, and it was also I was dancing at the same time. And I'm not great at choreography. I can dance in a club, but I'm not great
I
at
can't.
following someone else showing me what to do. So I had to sing at the same time and dance. But I remember the song, and the dance was very simple. But the song, it was like, try to step like me, try and you will see that a step or two will see you through the darkest day indeed. And then that was the only bit I can remember of that. And then there was a nativity, and I played Joseph, and I can remember some of that too, but we don't need to do that one.
Breaking down barriers at an early age. I love it. I was asked to play the Wicked Witch in a 5th grade play. And I did it because I liked Dungeons and Dragons and all those things as a kid. And I don't remember my line, but I remember we had to do this play at a nursing home. So a lot of elderly people, and we were entertaining them. And I jumped out wearing the witch green makeup and hair and a hat. And one person nearly fell out of their chair.
I was going to say, did you lose anyone?
It was traumatizing for them and me. And I really haven't acted much since. So I'm glad yours went better. Yeah. Your voice is lovely. I love it. I never ask people to perform on this show, so it seems rude, but thank you for volunteering. I love that.
No problem.
What was your first paying acting gig? Do you remember that?
Well, it paid to my mother, but I was the baby badger in Fantastic Mr. Fox at a local theatre that was a touring company, and they needed to get extras for the smaller roles, and I played the baby badger, and that was paid. I don't think I saw any of it because I was 8, but I'm sure my mum and dad had a slap-up meal for the next week.
My next question was then, what did you spend that paycheck on? So that I'm guessing nothing.
I mean, they probably bought me something, but I don't remember.
Cool. So we have to get in on the fact that you're a dialect teacher, and I always like to. Am I correct in saying an accent is a regional thing, and a dialect is within a region? So you have an English accent and a Liverpool dialect. Is that correct?
Yeah. To Americans, I have an English accent, but if anywhere in England, if I'm there, it's a dialect.
Okay. I just want to make sure I get what would you say is the easiest English dialect for anybody to pick up? That's as close maybe to an American.
Yeah, I think the hardest part of Americans doing British and vice versa is the R, losing it or making sure it's always in. So I would say that's a blanket rule across the board. So other than that sound, I think probably my accent, which is like RP or standard British as much as it can be, until I'm with my friends, and then it gets a bit, not
muddy.
Not a bit muddy, a bit London. But I think probably that one, as there is more of a standard, as in like not rules per se, but if these sounds, and it's a dialect that's sort of been almost invented for the South. So that would probably be one of the easier ones to teach. And then, the rest are so many different versions, even in the same town and city. So it kind of depends. I think a lot of Americans think that they can do Cockney really well, but
I mean, right? No, we can't.
Stop that.
Three words. We say 3 words, and we think that's the accent.
All right, mate. Like, it's really funny when I first came, people come up to me like, "Oh, you're from England. You all right?" And I'm like, "Oh God."
Just go away. Yeah. I used to have a problem when I was younger that if I heard somebody with an accent, particularly a British English accent, that I would just start doing it, probably badly. I was a child at that because I watched Monty Python growing up, and it was just this thing that if I did their lines, I did it in their accent. But whenever I met somebody who had the accent, it clicked, and I didn't want it to. And I remember walking away mid-conversation because I realized what I was doing. And even at a young age, I'm like, that's not okay. I'm not making fun of you.
Yeah, my mum telling me off for that when I would meet random people. I remember we were caving in Cheddar Gorge, which is where the cheese is from. And so my dad took me and my brother caving. My mum didn't come because she's claustrophobic, so she waited outside. But there was an Australian couple with us. And I think I probably was only like 9 or 10. And the whole time we were in the caves, I was talking in an Australian accent. And then my dad came out and told my mum, and then my mum told me off because she said, you can't do that. You can't mock people's accents. And I was like, but I wasn't. I really like it.
Just, it seems like, I think it goes back to the cultural identity thing of even within groups, people have a certain way of speaking. And when you go near that group or you want to be part of that group, you start taking some of those pieces to identify yourself with them also to the outside. It's one of those things I'm fascinated with, like why people speak certain ways. I'm from Pittsburgh and we have a dialect, regional dialect that's, if you ever want to learn how to speak improperly, just come to Pittsburgh and we'll teach you in about 3 days how not to talk.
I think, yeah, it's funny. It kind of in England very much depends on like whether you were near the ports, because there's a certain sound for like the water, whether you were in the industry, like factories up north, whether you're more in London. So it all changes depending on things. And also landscape can make a big difference as well. Like certain parts of Ireland, they have a very sort of musical, lyrical sound because they're trying to literally shout over hills. Whereas
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and then there's other areas of the country that are very flat, and their accent is very flat as well. So it's interesting.
So I got to ask, you moved to, this is kind of going off track, but it's there. You moved to Vancouver.
Yes.
Do you notice the difference between Canadian and American accents as somebody who's like from the outside?
Yes, very much. Yes.
Not,
in fact,
not just the boot thing, but the whole accent.
The South Park thing. No, I do. And actually, I not only do I do accent coaching on set when people come and they want specific accents, but I have private clients, and a lot of them are Canadians trying to find a more American sound because sometimes, especially in audition rooms, your producers and directors will just say no because you sound too Canadian, and the show is based in America, so it can be a bit of a roadblock sometimes for some people. So I think they bring in the Brit, which is funny, but it's because I learned the American accent from the beginning, not the Canadian one, but then I just happened to move here. So, yeah.
Before we move on to the Vancouver thing, how did you learn your American accent?
Mimicry when I was tiny, very much. Like obviously loads of my shows that I watched when I was growing up were American. I was a big Nickelodeon fan when I was young. So I heard it all the time, and then went to university and we did some of it there, and then went to the Oxford School of Drama and we did even more there, polishing. But I kind of had it already at that point, and then coming here, just around it all the time. I'm slipping into more of a Canadian sound, especially when I'm, with other Canadians.
Yeah.
But it still sounds American because that's what I learned, but it's sort of bleeding in. There are a few words that I always kind of say in an American accent for some reason: door, party, and weird. Don't know why. Weird. That's a weird.
The voice in your head that we all have that narrates us. Do you ever catch yourself doing different accents there if you've done it all day or been teaching it all day? Like all of a sudden you're not thinking in your native accent?
Yeah, for some reason when I drive my car and I have road rage, I'm always Irish.
Have a great one. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful night. Be safe out there. Treat each other well.